Hello everyone on the internet and thanks for tuning in. I'm RyuKiva of RyuKiva Toku.
And welcome to another episode of Toku Bros. I'm your co-host, the Winter Cosplayer, and this is Rider Talk.
The night appears when you sigh. You have no fear, the flame is bright. Ride on dragon fight. Dragon Iku night. What the hell? Right.
The only reason that was actually good is because it was actually English. Anywho, after that B- graded attempt of a singing, we will be talking about episode 13 of Kamen Rider Saber later on in this episode. But we are glad you guys are joining us today, and we will quickly get through this week's news.
Boom!
So starting off with, we've got a little bit of news from Kamen Rider Zero One's movie, saying that they will have Microsoft's AI Rena in the actual movie itself. I don't know as to how big of a role or not, but I just merely foresee this as a promotional ad personally.
Publicity stunt. Boom.
By all means. But you can also download this via the app called Line, and you can also interact with this AI as well as a human gear as well. And for those that, just in case, the movie is coming out December the 18th. And following that,
Human gear smartphone. Go on. All right, move on.
Following that, we do have some news on the 2021 Super Sentai Kamen Rider
Super Sentai Cross Kamen Rider.
The roadshow, live show, whatever you want to call it. But nevertheless, I'm only going to be talking about the rider side. That they have announced some of the artists that they are going to be having on there, which involves artists such as Sister Mayo, Beverly from the Kamen Rider Build opening, which I love, mind you. You've got the opening artist to Drive, 01, and also the current artist, that being Tokyo Sky Paradise Orchestra as well.
Yeah. Isn't it Scar Paradise? Or is it is Scar Paradise, isn't it?
It is Scar, yeah. But I pronounce it Sky.
Only the theme to only the artist theme. Yeah, only the artist to the current theme, right? Right.
You've then so just quickly moving on, or
all right, let's roll on. Yeah, go on.
It's announced that Saber's doing a 2-part mini-series.
I mean, because there's been news on that prior, I'm sure, but was there anything specific you're talking about?
Right, so this is releasing in late December. The title of this mini-series is going to be called Kamen Rider Saber, The Shattering Mist Heart.
Okay, I can't say I've heard this title, so it must be different, but there's been news of miniseries for a while for different things, but go on.
Then, just to make it even more non-cliche, the first part, or the episode 1, is going to be called Kamen Rider Saber Episode 1, TTFC Saber and the Shattering Mist Heart.
Okay. Do we have any details on it?
Only one. There is a reprising role from an actress that played the Humor Gear Smile from 01.
Wasn't she the realtor, like the real estate agent? Yeah. Yes, I remember this. She was quite... I actually did like her Humor Gear role. I actually did like her character, even if it was a Humor Gear.
She will be reprised... Well, sorry, the actress
as a Humor Gear or something original?
No. The actress will be in this.
But not as clearly not as a Humor Gear then. Right, that's cool.
Yeah. The episodes will be releasing on the 27th of December, followed by Oh no. I do apologize about that.
Go on.
It will be released on 27th of December, the first episode that is, but on top of that, because this is a TTFC, which stands for Toei Tokusatsu Fan Club, people can submit their application to get involved in as well.
Oh yes, of course. Everyone loves a good interaction, don't they? Good
Between the
interactive
27th of
audience.
December through to January the 12th. But that, for those that don't know, and this is the first time I've heard, that's why I'm a little bit hesitant as to what the Toei Tokusatsu Fan Club is. Can you just, do you by any chance know
I
what, or
mean,
just to shed some light on
my knowledge is probably a little brief, but the Toei Tokusatsu fan club, the clue's definitely in the name. So if you're a real hardcore fan of tokusatsu, especially if it's from Toei, and you're definitely a fan, it's, as far as I'm aware, it's like a subscription service you get. So like most typical fan clubs from the days of old. I mean, let's try not to think of Kamen Rider Club or anything, but it's basically, it's a service online that people get like exclusive access, BTS, and like previous webisodes have been released via TTFC. And like normally it's like they'll put them, they'll normally throw them up on YouTube, but it's exclusive access. I mean, most of Toei's YouTube account is region locked anyway, but I believe anything that's TTFC is specifically for their members. So, something like what you're... Because, I mean, the thing is, like, even though it's always sketchy when non-Japanese people, people outside of Japan, rather, are leeching, media from Japan, and then they just kind of throw it up there for illegal download, which is kind of what... fan subbing's always a great area. But TTFC tends to like put this out not just for these specific people, but then ironically people from outside of Japan seem to be able to subscribe to this as well. So it's one of those that because I know a few people that do. So it's one of those things, I guess. Yeah, go on.
Is this sort of like in comparison, like a tokusatsu version of Patreon?
No, I mean, technically yes. I mean, because when you think of things like Patreon, it is like you're throwing money at something because you're a fan of it. So but again, because again, it's a fan club format. So Patreon takes itself. Bearing in mind, I have my Patreon. And so does Dragon Zero as well. But, so like Patreon takes its model from the fan club model, which is kind of what TTFC tries to, which is pretty much what TTFC is. So, like, those who are interested, you can go onto TTFC website and get more details there. So, talking about us being fans of Toei Tokusatsu, let's roll on to the episode of the moment. Episode 13. So, episode 13 of Kamen Rider Saber. Well, I'm going to start off straight up by going to the end. When you get a dramatic ending like that, and then it cuts to a chirpy theme, who says Rider is becoming more like Sentai, eh? Right, but actually talking about the episode, it shows the series will not hesitate to switch between a multi-layer or single-layer story, this being the latter. The only thing I could take in from this episode is how similar to Kamen Rider Wizard it actually is. Do you agree?
I got to ask, how?
Well, this is exactly what I'm going to go into. Like, for me, it's like a reoccurring apocalyptic event done by a hero gone rogue, which he turns into the main villain for something in regards to a selfish need. Again, with Caliber, it's about finding the truth. And then you've got the actual heroes fighting to protect the people and save the day, which is almost every Rider series, but I'm honing in on Wizard for this one. Even though, I mean, to be fair, even though all that sounds negative, one thing I will say, though, is I don't normally like J-drama style Toku, but here I felt they did alright in this episode.
I will agree with the Wizards. The glyph, the final glyph, with this...
Not even the final, I'm saying overall. I mean, the vibe, the style, the CGI, and what I've literally just outlined from, like, the story construct. But still, like, I mean, I'm not too sure what sort... so, like, talking about reoccurring themes, though, like, I'm not sure what sort of reoccurring comedy routine they've got Mei on, but it seems basic that Kento keeps escaping, so, people can make of that what they will. Even though this meant that the previous episode climax was misleading, and Tassel's cliffhanger once again, went nowhere. Right? Can you at least agree with me on this time? Because last time you disagreed with me. Right, sure, of course.
Yeah, I do.
Right, cool, thank you. But it seems that even, like, talking about the villain HQ, it's once again a multi-layer green screen, which might have been recorded during heavy COVID restrictions, admittedly. But then the dramatic scenes with the heroes clearly weren't, which is kind of inconsistent in terms of that editing aspect, which I'm always moaning about. But again, heartfelt Kamen Rider fan, I will cut Saber some slack. Any thoughts?
With the villains in general, I could not give two toshes.
I mean, like, because you had one of them giggling, menacingly evil, which is, it's staple. At least they had that. You get me?
I just couldn't. I couldn't get my head around, because you got the other two. You had Caliber, and then you had the other guy whose name I can't remember. Then you got the guy that turns into a wolf. Who was...
Dude, I don't remember. Even Caliber's actual name I've forgotten. So Caliber is Caliber, but the villains. You're the one who's reminding me of their names. I mean, it's not like I've not seen it enough.
You basically got four villains effectively. You got Caliber. You got the effectively quiet one, who I like because they're the more...
No, because you've got the guy who spends more time with the handwriting book thing, isn't it?
I think. And then you've got the other two, the guy in the red, and then you got the guy as a wolf. Those two hysterical idiots. I just find them very annoying, personally.
Ryan. I mean, because you got the guy who looks like I'm gonna say Decker from Power Rangers. Like, it's I think because he fought with Buster previously, and they had some history. But again, it's like, because the wolf guy I remember because he was the one that laughed menacingly evil during this episode. While the pillars were erecting, but still, I mean, so talking about the pillars that were erecting, the CGI fight scenes were really good though, in my honest opinion. So as much as I complain about the editing, and there were a couple of really doof CGI moments, but at least I felt this episode had the CGI fight scenes on point. Two notable scenes were when Zhao Dragon sent out like gold dragons, like you had the five guys. This is what's T-Pop. That's Miku Pink's thing. But you've got like the five heroes, sending out their Hisatsu attack. And then Zhao Dragon does his thing. He nullifies their attack, and then you get these gold dragons shoot out. That was pretty cool. Admittedly, and again, maybe a touch basic, but again, like, at least the CGI was on point and consistent for it. And then, of course, we've got the Dragonic Knight scene. Of course, Caliber was on script mumbling about the truth, which I've already made a reference to. But I do feel they could have given Caliber like more of a script, more of a substantial script, rather than I'm going to find the eternal truth or something like that.
Before diving into the suits and the effects of Draconic Knight, which I have my own opinions on, if I can just get your 2 cents on this, did you feel that the script and the acting of this episode was choppy?
Ooh, I mean, you say choppy. I will say there was, like, again, because when you say it like choppy, you make it sound like you're negative about it. I mean, like, I will say, obviously you had, like, no, hold on. Like, because you had, like, these lumps of real hard J-drama. You then had, like, a miniature comedy routine from May, which is kind of a given. But again, it's like, the rest of the scripting was going to be minimal. Because again, like I've literally just covered, you've got these epic CGI fight scenes. And again, like, my point just now was they could have given Caliber more. Like, rather than just, I'm going to find the eternal truth, they could have given him more script. They could have given him more dialogue. And, sort of like like where you've got this emotional J-drama scripting, which I did feel was on point. I mean, again, I'll say it was lumped in certain places, mainly head and tail of the episode. But... I wouldn't say it was choppy. Like, I didn't feel... Like, I felt it was smooth. Like, because when you say choppy, you feel it's like as if you don't feel it's smooth. I actually did feel it was somewhat smooth. I just feel that those middle bits could have had a little bit more substance to it, especially for Caliber. But, like, just to segue a little bit, so, like, this is where it goes on to Kento. So, like, it does, this episode is also about Kento, and I'll let you talk a little bit more about Kento in a sec. But at least he threw out heartfelt props to the others. Like, you see this scene where he like it clips to all the others. That I thought was at least pretty decent. And of course, there is our boy Toma. And before we talk about the suit, I'll let you talk about Kento a little bit.
I am at an impasse on Kento without giving anything away. It just felt the writers are now treating him more like a gimmick, if you will. And if you know what I mean by that.
Yeah, I get you.
But, it just feels very gimmicky for what he is doing now. I felt the previous episode should have been how that episode should have been.
But that's it. I mean, to give, again, the whole COVID situation some slack, I guess they kind of dragged that out, which is why it was so misleading. But at least, like, I will talk about how they should hopefully be able to proceed forward with Kento's storyline. But just to switch back to Toma, his new powers do seem like they were acquired by some Hollywood sentimental bullshit. Like the whole feeling thing and yes. And then this girl Luna, And yet, seeing the suit on screen, as opposed to just toy form, to me it still looked good. But it screamed Metal Cluster Hopper to me. Like, I'm sure the toy... I'll be honest. I'm sure the toy had more red in it. I've got to be honest. I'll hold my hands up. But I'm sure the toy had more red in it. That's kind of the problem here. But then again, I will cut, as I keep saying, I will cut Saber some slack. But how much are they recycling old ideas exactly? But at least it's mixed, right? But... Go on, your thoughts on Dragonic Knight.
Is this the part? Can I at least take 2 seconds to say, I told you so!
Oof, right, go on.
Right. Let me start off with the Wonder Ride book itself first, just to get that out of the way. The concept is very basic, and what I mean by that is, rather than having what Zhao Dragon had, which is a pop-up book, rather than your standard one, which is just a literally open book. This is a slide out.
Okay, I mean, again, like, 'cause I just thought it was the same sort of plastic mold template as Zhao Dragon. I've got to be honest.
No. The thickness or depth to the book maybe, but literally instead of opening, it is literally a 3-tier slide out. So in that,
I didn't notice that. I got to admit that.
I give them props for creativity. However, when it comes to the music, I actually I'll give them that. But the suit is bland as hell. I don't like it.
I mean, it's still nice, but again, go ahead.
This is where I have another caveat to. The execution to the suit. When you have that suit, right, all Toma does is just stand there, and then you have, Zhao Dragon, right? You have Caliber just going like that. He didn't even hit him, right? It just bounces off.
What is it with you and props today, by the way? Yeah, but okay.
You complaining?
No, right, fine, whatever. Right.
It just bounces off, and I don't appreciate it. It's just.
I mean, I guess we'll see some more. I mean, I can only be a little bit more optimistic and say I'm sure we'll see a little bit more elaboration and sort of because again, it's supposed to be the cool debut. You get me? But I will still say, just to kind of, mellow it out a touch. My final thoughts after the, as much as you disagreed, as after the amazing CGI fights, which was at the expense of actual sword fights, we do get our J-drama climax where it was so draining to me because, as sad as it was, but just like the previous episode all over again, just watching it. But the actors, the characters, they were giving it their passionate all, just for a super psychotic ending. It has a sense like Kento's story will just follow a Kirama Silver template, which I know you're not keeping up with Kira Major, but, as much as I actually hope Kamen Rider can actually do something better that will actually last more episodes. Will it? Who knows? Your final thoughts?
In regards to CGI, just to quickly tap on this, what do you think of the sky fight?
Yeah, I mean, again, this is it. It's another Wizard comparison. Wizard had tons of sky fights. But, you know, again, I'm cutting it. Not only am I cutting it some slack, but, you know, again, even without remembering Wizard at that precise moment, I actually did appreciate the CGI. I appreciated, like the CGI choreography, if you will. But now that you've asked me that in such an abstract way, I will be like, actually, Wizard had a ton of that as well.
I don't know. Just, if anything, my only last thoughts on this would be just bring on, King Lion Daisenki, to be honest. Honestly, that...
No, I will say that little clip that we had, to be fair, to me, it doesn't look that much different from his Wonder Ride combo, but it's shiny. It is shiny. Right.
It's darker blue.
Okay. I think it's shiny. Well,
you think everything's shiny.
It's all shiny. Well, that is all from us. Thank you all for watching. We hope you have enjoyed. And as usual, you can catch us all on the social medias. Firstly, with my boy Winter Cosplayer. He's on Facebook, Instagram, and his Discord. You've got ourselves here at the Toku Bros, this very YouTube channel, as well as Facebook, Instagram, our Discord group, and Reddit, as well as Twitter at Toku Bros 71. And finally, myself, RyuKiva of RyuKiva Toku. My Series 3 of Toku Unboxing is well underway, so please do go check that out on my YouTube channel. And I'm on pretty much most of the social medias: Facebook, Instagram, Patreon, Discord, Reddit, Twitter, and as well my URL, ryukivatoku.wordpress.com. So thank you all for watching. I hope to see you again next time. And as always, fist through the cam.
Fist through the cam.
See you next time.